What up, though? We find ourselves around the corner of another real talk, and this is another one of those conversations I have with people. And I always preface it with somehow at this age of 46, I figured out the meaning of life. So we're gonna talk about that. Right, we're gonna get into that. Um, and in my roundabout way, I'm gonna try and teach a lesson here and kind of let y'all know where my mind is and how it works. So today I was driving home um, from a job fair. As a matter of fact, I was kind of figuring out how to write a resume because, I've done the same job for almost 28 years. I've never had a resume before, so I was working on that. So I'm driving home. I'm taking my time. I'm not a speeder, right? I drive at about a constant rate of speed, a little bit above the speed limit, but not crazy. I usually ride in the left hand lane because I got a long way to go. And so I'm driving, and this guy gets over in front of me, right, in this truck. And he jumps over in front of me, and he's going less than the speed limit in the fast lane. And at first, I'm like, okay, whatever it is, what it is. But at a certain point, I realized, listen, if I don't get around him, I'm gonna be stuck. At this same pace, you know, uh, riding up the freeway. So I'm like, well, you know what? I get out and I go around because I don't believe in doing goofy shit like speed up to go around one car and get in front of them. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It's just silly to me. So I get over into the right lane. I speed up, right? And just as I'm about to get back over, right, I look at my blind spot, and there this asshole is, right? He like intentionally sped up because he was frustrated with the fact that I was going around him. But again, he wasn't even doing the speed limit. But he's in my blind spot, so I potentially could have, if I was a bad driver, right? This could have potentially been an accident. And he was doing that speed up to where like I had a choice to make either slow down or run into the back of a car, in front of me. And I don't get angry about these things, right? These are just human behaviors that I look at and I wonder about. And so I started thinking to myself, what kind of life do you live where something like that is important, right? That one person getting in front of you on the freeway is important to you. Because at the end of the day, it's the freeway. It's not like you're ever gonna be first, right? There's always somebody ahead of you on the freeway. Um, you knew you was driving slow, right? What? How does this insignificant thing become important in your life? And at the end of the day, think about it, right? You're driving slow. If I speed up to go around you, obviously I plan to drive faster than you, so it's not like it's gonna make a big difference in your life, right? But I got thinking about it, and it brought me back to the meaning of life. Because something that insignificant really shouldn't matter in your life, right? So tonight we're going to talk about the meaning of life, right? And I'm not a guru, I'm not a genius. I'm just a man of a certain age, as you've heard me say before. And I think I've figured out what the meaning of life is. And I want to tell you, I'm not going to keep you guessing and waiting, right? But understand this is just my perspective. This is how I think about it. And this is what I've kind of put together uh, in the years that I've walked around this rock. First off, my definition is going to change for everyone, right? It's not one certain thing, right? The meaning of life doesn't remain a constant, your entire life. It changes for you all the time. And what your meaning is different than what other people's meaning is, right? But I'm going to tell you what I think the meaning of life is. And I like to keep things simple, right? I'm not a smart man, okay? The meaning of life, in my opinion, is to have purpose, right? Purpose is what drives you to get up in the morning, right? Purpose drives your day. And it's different than when people say the why, right? So I'll get into the why later on, right? But purpose, right? What gets me up in the morning? And this became apparent to me because I've learned through my work with people who are in a dark place, which is a phrase I'm going to use for SI, right? So if you understand what SI is, I'm going to refer to it as the dark place. People who are in a dark place, their language, when we talk about it, sounds like they've lost purpose. When people say things like, it doesn't matter if I'm here, no one cares about me, I don't make a difference. All of those are phrases that I liken to not having purpose or having lost your purpose. Now, your purpose doesn't have to be something grandiose, something, you know, big time, right? It can be something really simple. As a sailor in the Navy, oftentimes I talk to the senior enlisted sailors in the Navy, right? And every year there's a certain time of the year where we advance all the E7s, right, or the chief petty officers. And I asked them, "What is your purpose as a chief?" And everyone wants to give me this complicated answer. Take care of my sailors, do this, do that, do this, do that. That's great. You can give me a list of 101 things, and all 101 things will be right for the most part. But again, like I told you, I'm a simple man. So I try to figure out what is the purpose, right? And I tell them that every sailor in your charge, right, or every sailor around you is the child of someone, right? And as a parent, we look at our children as the most valuable, precious gift in the world. So your job as a senior enlisted person in the military is to take someone's most valuable gift and give it back to them in a few short years with 10 fingers and 10 toes and a little bit better than when you got them. Right? If you operate from that perspective, then what you have to do in those years that this person is in your charge makes sense. You don't even have to think about it, right? If every day you're like, I got to make them just a little bit better, than when they came in, right? And give them back with 10 fingers and 10 toes. Protect them, teach them, train them, and motivate them, right? But it's just easier to understand 10 fingers, 10 toes, a little bit better than we got them. To kind of shift gears, right? So my non-military folks get this, right? And this is how I kind of developed this idea, and then I work down right to the subcategories, the derivatives, and I come back to the grand topic, right? Look at your seatbelt in your car. What is the purpose of your seatbelt, right? Your seatbelt is there to protect you in the event of a car accident, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, this is a thing that is designed to protect me if things go bad while I'm in the car. So then you build from that and go, I should probably always put this thing on when I'm in the car because it's there to protect me, right? And then you build from that and you go, if there is a specific thing placed inside of my car to protect me in the event of a car accident, then driving itself is probably a inherently dangerous activity and I should probably be engaged and do it with respect, right? So you see how we got there, right? It wasn't a telling you what, it was looking at the purpose, right? And once you understand the purpose, you can kind of work your way back. I often tell people, if you understand the purpose, right, do you understand how and what you have to do? Anyone who's ever worked for me in the last 10 years has heard me say, look, man, I don't care how the soup gets made. I just want soup. But they understand what the purpose of what we're doing is. They understand what the end game is, where we're trying to go. Right? So in life, when you don't have purpose, right, I think that takes something away from you. And on a personal note, right, I work with a lot of people who are in the dark place. And an ironic thing that came up last night, I was thinking to myself as I was falling asleep. You hear people say oftentimes, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people, right? If you want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people. What happens if you surround yourself with people who are in a dark place? Eventually, over time, I would have to be honest and say, you're going to be in a dark place. And that's where I got from myself. Now, this was last summer. I had lost my purpose. There are so many things that I am in life, right? But none of them seem to matter at that moment, you know. None of those things seem to matter. And that's how, ironically, I ended up with this damn cat, right? So I'm coming out of this dark place. I'm going through therapy. I'm going through counseling and treatment or whatever. And I end up with this cat. And I was never a cat person. If you know me, I've always had pit bulls, Rottweiler, um, hell, even horses now. Uh, but this cat gave me purpose again, right? I had to take care of her and I had to keep her alive. And she was a stray. Okay. So a friend found these stray cats, and another friend didn't sound like they were going to do the most positive thing with these kittens. So they asked me if I would take the cats. So I took her, and I found myself on those days where I didn't want to get out of bed, understanding I got to get up and I got to feed her. I got to give her water. I have to take care of her. I have to make sure she's okay. She forced me, right, to have purpose and to re-engage and participate in life, because this tiny little being needed me to get her medication and get her to the vet and get her shots, get her spayed, get her chipped, and to take care of her. And every morning, my day since then starts out with me getting up and feeding her and make sure her water is clean, and then taking care of her litter box. And most of my days end with me making sure she's got food and water. And I get in the bed, and as I'm dozing off, she climbs up and she burrows around my feet. And there's something else there that in the morning when I wake up, I can feel her presence, and I go, I got to get up because I got to feed her. I got to give her water. I got to take care of her litter box. Right now, that may seem like an insignificant purpose, but it was a purpose to get started and get back into participating in life. You may need to do that sometimes. It may be something really insignificant that you got to start and do and follow through with every day. Right. And then go back into those bigger purposes, such as being a parent, being a great spouse, being great in your industry or your job or whatever you want to do. But it all begins with purpose. Now, there's a million and one people that tell you, it starts with the why, yada, 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 right? I look at life as purpose. I prefer purpose over why. I think purpose to me is the overall kind of sky above you, and the why becomes the clouds in that sky. You try to figure them out. And one of the things I start with whenever I'm taking on a new project, it goes, what is the purpose of this thing that I'm doing? Right. And people around me will realize, they'll tell you, I ask that all the time. Hey, we're doing such and such. What is the purpose of that? And if the purpose does not sound genuine or worth it, then why the hell are we doing that? I don't do anything just because anymore. Right. Ask, what is the purpose? And once you understand what the purpose is, what you have to do to get there, will make perfect logical sense. If you're in a leadership position, you're a boss, you're middle management, whatever, the people who work for you, the people around you, that's what they're ultimately seeking is purpose, right? In order to have an employment or job, they've gone through some trial and error. If you're in the military, that's boot camp, whatever. Uh, if you're a professional in some industry, that was college and master's degrees and all those other things. And you've spent all this time and energy becoming what you are, right? Your purpose during that time was to become what you are. And now that you are what you are, what is your purpose every single day, right? To get out of bed and participate in life and go into an office or go wherever you work, right? And continue to do it. And if you can't provide that, right, for the people around you or the people that work for you, then take your ass home. If you have a problem with as we call it in the military morale or people's engagement or enjoyment of their work, it's probably because the people who work for you or around you don't feel like there's a purpose. And it doesn't have to be a grand purpose like in the military defending freedom and democracy around the world, right? It doesn't have to be something like that. But everybody should know why the hell they showed up that day, why they do what they do, and why they do what they do for you and not someone else. I'm just saying. I've been in those situations where it's like it when people don't have purpose, really, right? That's when people start to say things like, it doesn't matter if I'm there or not. Doesn't matter if I contribute. It doesn't matter if I work hard or don't work hard or don't give a damn because no one understands what my purpose is or what our purpose is or why we're even doing it. So I want you to think about that, right? I'm dropping this on a weekend, right? I hope to have this all done and finished up by Saturday morning. But think about that over the weekend and have an idea when you go back into work or go back to do whatever you do on Monday about how do you give the people around you and the people who support you purpose, right? And to bring this full circle, I think about the guy in the truck that like tried to race me, and I was like, he must not have a lot of purpose in life. And I'm not saying that to be mean or rude, but to be really upset about me passing you on the freeway, right? Just like the people who like don't like to let you merge. It's like, what? How has something so insignificant become a major point of concern or focus in your life, even if it's only for a few minutes? Right. And I have to come back to my original statement that your purpose is unfulfilled or your purpose is unknown because you haven't figured it out yet. Right. And once you figure that out, once you figure out what your purpose is, right, what your purposes sis, are, right, then you will find that you don't really care if somebody speeds around you on the freeway or someone merges in front of you, right? You don't care about all those other little annoyances in life because you understand that you're here for something bigger, right? Like your damn purpose is not to be the first person in the fast lane on the freeway because you'll realize that there's always somebody ahead of you on the freeway. So you're never going to be first. Your purpose is not to be like, I'm only going to let one person merge in front of me and not two people because you'll realize that it's just stupid. It's a waste of your time and energy because you need to focus on what your real purpose is, right? So we'll build on this, right? I'm going to start kind of, I'm going to create playlists. I think that's what I'm going to do on this channel so I can kind of separate these deep thoughts and deep ideas from times when I'm just, talking shit. Because there's going to be times when I'm just talking shit. Y'all know me, right? As always, it's been a pleasure creating this content, giving it to you. I hope you enjoy what you're getting from me. And if you have any questions or things that you want to hear me talk about, just let me know. Real talk, real talk. So I'm gonna sign off the way I always like to sign off. I'm just saying, fuck you talking about. Holla at you, boy.